Hi, ladies and gentlemen, this is Muscle, and this is another edition of Two Line Music Hut's Entertainment Report podcast. And tonight, we got a real special and interesting guest. When you want to know anything about sex, all right, whether it's sexual therapy, whether it's BDSM, whether it's bondage, whatever it is, this is the lady you need to talk to. You know who we have right here? We have Jet Setting Jasmine in the building tonight. What's good, my sister?
I love that intro. I'm so glad this is recorded.
Yes. You could take that piece and then
Thank you.
You could play it whenever you're doing your show. You know what I mean?
Hello.
Thank
How are you?
I'm excellent. Yourself?
I'm doing great.
All right. Welcome to Toronto, because we're actually
you.
doing this in Toronto.
Yes.
You know what I mean? First time here?
First time in Canada.
In Canada?
First time in your country, yes.
Okay. How do you like it?
The people are lovely. The people are absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
The food is good. And I haven't gone out to the city yet.
Don't worry. We'll get you after this. We'll
Yes,
probably
after
set
the
it up and
podcast.
make you go. What have you eaten since you came up?
Well, I don't want everyone to know about me being off of my healthy diet, but we've had there's an amazing steakhouse, the Keg.
Yes.
Yeah,
You guys don't have it out there?
No.
Okay, no. Keg
Yeah.
is big when it comes to steak.
Okay, it was delicious. Like
Yeah.
everything in the vegetables were even perfect. That's how you know it's a good thing. So yeah, we ate there, and a couple of other spots of breakfast. It's been amazing. But the event that we did last night with Room 2369, really, like, if I don't see any other area, anything else of Canada, I saw what I feel is the best.
It's the best.
Yeah, just sexiest people.
Yeah.
Kinkiest, most willing to learn, beautiful.
I like, and you see that right there, you set me up into what I really wanted to ask you. Now, when we're talking about sexual, we're talking about kinky, and especially from a black perspective. You know what I mean? That's the biggest part, a black perspective. What do you find how do you find that right now? Do you find that people are really into it, they're getting more into it, they're not really into it? What's the vibe like out there?
So I find that we're all looking for safe spaces to explore.
Understandable.
Okay, so I think that just people in general have a lot of curiosities about their sexual range. You know, what's out there, what could make things more lively, what could make things more enjoyable, what could even, just open their eyes to new experiences. But it's like you have all these curiosities, and you may you may satisfy some of them by watching porn or maybe talking amongst your girlfriends, but to actually have an experience, that's where like the block comes. Like, where do I go? Who do I hang out with? Where is it safe for me to go and explore these things? So, there's a lot of swingers clubs, there's dungeons, but when we go into those spaces, it's almost like going anywhere else. We're the only one, right? We're expected to be like over sexualized, or, it's kind of like if you go to the basketball court and there's a whole bunch of white guys, they think that
you're the superstar.
Right. It's like, I don't know anything about basketball, or if
I play volleyball. I don't know.
See, there you go, right? Or if I go out dancing, it's like the automatic assumption that I'm going to I am.
Yeah.
Just because.
But it's the assumption.
And that puts a lot of pressure to perform, or pressure to act a particular way, or just annoyance that people are making expectations of you. So the same thing happens in the kink and BDSM world for people of color. And we want to be able to go in those spaces and we're not fetishized for our skin. I can't tell you how many swingers events I've been to and someone's come up and said like, "Ooh, I sure like chocolate." Yeah. Well, get chocolate. I'm a human, Yeah. And I like to actually think I'm more caramel complexion anyways, right?
I agree.
So that feeling can be such a turnoff, and it can keep people from feeling like they're in a trusted space where people are seeing them as a human, their likes and dislikes, and wanting to play with them in a way that like it's fun. Yeah. So when we create these black kinky spaces, we really give people a chance to feel safe. We get to have consideration. So like last night, we were doing like choking and spanking, and you missed it.
Listen, as this podcast goes out, we're going to get a lot of information, because I really want to know what's going on.
So Room 2369, they brought it, their crew, their followership, and they allowed, so we're here and we're doing like, these erotic activities and demonstrating and teaching one another. And there's certain things, like with a black woman, like Are you going to pull her hair?
Number one thing, leave my hair alone. Generally,
Generally, ask, right? Or allow her to guide your hands through her hair. So these are things we don't have to discuss when we're in a space where certain things are understood.
Where everybody knows.
Yeah, like
the
just
drill.
kind of the drill, exactly. We were doing things like bondage and using rope. Well, my dark skinned sisters are not going to turn red.
Yeah.
They're not going to turn blue.
Yeah.
And I mean, if they do, we're already way past a particular zone. Right, exactly. So we have to look for other things: body temperature, breathing, using our safe words. There are things that people don't take into consideration when working with Black and brown people, which is why we have to have these spaces and these kind of conversations where we can say like, I can enjoy these, but I do have to be careful.
For sure. So then let's bring it to this then. Exactly what do you do?
I just be hanging out at hotels. I just hang out at hotels.
Talk on mics.
Cameras,
That's about it.
So I do a variety of different things.
Okay.
I am definitely a shepreneur. I work completely for myself.
Okay.
I own Royal Fetish Films with my partner King Noire, and that is a full adult entertainment company. So we do all kinds of, whether it's sensual, romance, porn, fetish, porn to hardcore. It is a space where you will see people of color, people of all different shapes, sizes, orientations enjoying kink in ways that they're often relegated to particular stereotypes.
Yeah.
So that's Royal Fetish Films. I am the co-owner of Jet Setting Jasmine, which is adult education and entertainment company. So
Okay.
I kind of like to think like today I'm wearing mostly her hat.
Yeah.
And I'm also the owner and lead therapist for Blue Pearl Therapy. I'm a licensed clinical therapist.
Okay. And is that sexual or that's just therapy?
So it is everything.
Okay.
Yeah. But that being said, a large portion of my clients come to me because of the work that I do in the sex entertainment and sex industry. They know kind of like all her bags are, all her baggage is laid on the line. There's not going to be any judgment there. I'm very vulnerable with everything being out in the open, so it makes it easier for people to be vulnerable with me.
Makes sense, because that's when you get to your purest form.
Absolutely.
Is when you're vulnerable and you just lay everything out there.
So I would say probably 70% of my clients do come to me because of maybe a sexual trauma or a sexual inhibition that they would like to move past. Okay. And a lot of times those things are maybe they can't get past something with their lover. And when it comes down to it, really has to do with an anxiety that started as a child, and we can work up through that because my range allows it.
And I guess especially a lot of the clients you see are generally Black.
Yeah, I would say that it's definitely diversified as I've started to be advertised as a therapist for sex workers. So other porn stars that want to engage in therapy, but they don't want to have to say like, no, I don't want to leave my job. No, or I can't schedule today because I have 3 shoots in a row. Like, there's certain things that we don't have to go into.
Because understood.
It's understood, right? So I am seeing more diversity in terms of that because a lot of those film stars are not of color. Okay.
Because the special thing with you two is I know you do a lot of work behind the camera, but you also do work in front of the camera.
I do.
Which makes you so complex and interested. So would you consider yourself, quote unquote, a porn star?
I used to run away from that title.
Okay.
Because I didn't know exactly what defined a star. But when we won 3 awards I was like, oh yeah, okay.
I'm a porn star.
I'll take it. Yeah, okay. So no, I'm definitely an adult actress, an adult entertainer. I do have full intercourse on film. I do some fetish work, things that are like fully clothed and are just satisfying people's fetishes and my own. And also we do live shows as well.
Got you. What was it like the very first time on camera?
Well, what was interesting is that the very first time that we decided, the very first time we were on camera, it was just kind of like let's just film it. Like, there's a camera here, and we had a sub spending the weekend with us. And we're like, oh, let's just film it and have fun with it.
I got to keep that in mind. So I'm spending the weekend.
It.
Okay, we're going to get there, yeah.
And so she filmed it, and then when I watched it back, it wasn't like, oh, is this perfect for film? I watched it back and thought, wow, I would watch more porn if I saw more images like this.
Because I heard you say that already. You got into the business because you wanted to see more people like yourself in it. And I never really understood when you said like yourself exactly what you meant until right now.
Yeah. So seeing like 2 Black people, we were definitely engaged in lovemaking. It wasn't like oh, the pizza man came and, you know,
My pipes are broken.
Right.
Look under here.
Look there. Right. It was a natural act that happened to be caught on camera. I didn't have like makeup on or crazy costumes or even high heels, like God forbid you don't see that in porn, right? And it wasn't shot all crisp and every single detail. It just looked like 2 people making love. And that was kind of a light bulb went off for me. Like, this is why women, in my mind at the time, I was thinking about women. This is why women, specifically Black women, don't enjoy porn. All of the women that I talked to are like, oh, we just fast forward to the end. Yeah. You know? It's like, all right, yeah. And so it's not really entertainment. It's just kind of like a means to an end. Yeah. And so when I saw that, I was like, maybe it would be cool to fill that gap. Yeah. And so then we, put something else out there, and it was received really. We won an award for it. It was received really, really well.
What did you have to say to yourself to actually allow you to push that send button to put it out there?
So I had to say a couple of things. One is that I want to do this. All right, like this is who I am. And, I knew without a doubt, I didn't have to say it. I knew I wasn't being coerced to do it. I wasn't financially desperate. I was definitely in one of the highest paid at the time jobs that I've ever been in. Okay. So it wasn't an act of desperation. It wasn't a you need to find yourself moment. It was very sure. I definitely also reviewed all the consequences. So the consequences were I may potentially lose my job.
Okay. Oh, so you were working at a job at that time?
Yeah. I was working for actually a large government agency. I won't say that the agency itself.
We'll leave them nameless.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. For their sake. And in a really pretty high up position in the national office. So I knew that maybe I couldn't lose my job because what I was doing was legal, but I could threaten.
They could find a way to massage you out of your position.
And they certainly tried. Yeah. Yeah. So it's okay. When you make a decision, if you know the consequences, that you're ready for them. Yeah. So that was that. I knew that I may upset or disappoint some of my family members. Okay. And I was okay with that. Okay. Yeah.
Because you're living your truth.
Right. And, when you kind of think about what their... what you value the most, and certainly I value my family very much. However, I value myself most. And
your happiness.
Right, exactly. And I knew that if they could see me happy and successful, then everything else would eventually fall into place, which it has. And, I certainly worried about what this would do for my relationship with my daughters. Okay. And I was able to really come very comfortable to terms with I want them to live their lives for who they are. And the only way they're going to be able to do that is if they see me do the same.
Makes sense.
And so in our household, it's kind of like, you don't have to do what I do. You don't even have to like what I do. But you do have to respect that.
100. I'm still a parent and I'm still the mom. Yeah.
Exactly. I provide for you. I meet my legal obligations to care for you. I love you and I show you love. And I also am true to myself. So...
So that makes sense. All right. And when you were shooting, I guess this was with your partner. And your partner, his name?
King Noire.
Yes, definitely. The famous King Noire. Yes. You know what I mean? And that's how you guys came together. How did you guys even meet?
On a radio show.
What do you mean?
Radio. I was doing a radio show called The Emotion Picture. And we were doing a show about we're interviewing both King Noire and Cinnamon Love on like what is a relationship for porn stars, what is life like beyond the camera. And so on that conversation that I had with him, I was really, the interesting part of him is that he's as complex in the way that you kind of described me. He was doing sex work, but he also was building schools and freshwater wells in Guinea-Bissau, Africa. He was touring with his music, which is very politically charged and, you know, speaking to things that I found were very important to me. So I did have a tunnel vision of what people in the sex industry were like.
Like most people outside of the industry.
Sure. You know, but it's almost, you know, for your listeners to kind of think about it. What if you were only defined by the job that you do every day?
Makes sense too.
Right? Like none of your hobbies matter. None of the things that you read and you study and your interests. Only what you do for a living. So if you are a coffee barista, that's it.
That's the only thing.
That's people cannot look at you as anything else but a barista. And that's so limiting, right? To think. But that's how many of us think. So as I'm having this conversation with him about porn, and I'm like, and then you do this, and then like my brain was hurting. I was like, oh, like I like everything about this person.
And you weren't in the industry at all this time.
No, I had done like a little bit of dancing as a young adult, but no, at this time no. I was just doing this radio show as a hobby.
Okay.
And I didn't even know what he'd look like or anything. It was over the telephone.
Okay.
And so I was just so, you know, kind of like my brain was really like, how can he be this and this at the same time? And it allowed us to have an off-the-air conversation. I was doing some of these little parties for women, like toy parties where they get together. And a lot of the questions that women were having was, how do we get a man to, like, what do men like about this? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm not a man, right? So I asked him, hey, can you join me in some of these parties and give the male perspective? Because a lot of articles are written by women about men. And
geared towards women.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
so a lot of misinformation is circulated. Or the challenges that women have, which is communicating with men, and vice versa, of course. Why can't we have these opportunities where women can have open communication with men, and we can start allowing them to have these with their partner? So we did a couple parties together, and the rest is history.
Yeah, here you are. How long has you guys been together now?
It's been about 8 years.
Already, eh?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And this brings me to this question now. He's in the industry. You're in the industry. What rules are set in the industry? Because you guys don't always shoot together.
No.
Do you shoot? Do you shoot with other partners? Because I know he does, but I'm not sure if you do.
So I do. I am not interested at the moment, like today.
Okay.
I don't know. It could change tomorrow.
This day? Right now?
Right now.
Okay.
In this moment, in shooting with other male talent, like penetrative sex.
Okay.
So that kind of has been my own personal limit.
Have you done it before, or you?
No, I have done work with a trans performer.
Okay.
So, and that performer identifies as a woman, but it's a woman that still has her man parts.
Okay.
So however that wraps around in your brain, I just want to explain it the way and be respectful to the way that she presents. So I have done that, and that was pretty cool. And I've done work with other men, but from a fetish perspective. So I am always dominating. I'm the one penetrating.
This is where,
So those are the boundaries that I enjoy for myself.
Fair enough.
For King, he doesn't shoot with men, unless it's like two men and a woman and like a threesome
but it's not two guys.
He's he's not a gay performer. Definitely we support and love our LGBT community, but we have our own personal boundaries. He's done some work with trans performers as well, mostly in that same style of domination or threesome. But he shot with many women. And for us, the rules are, so in the industry you have to be tested.
Yeah.
You get tested pretty much if you're really, really working often, almost every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks? Wow.
Because, things can come up, right? And not only do people shoot within the industry, but they have their own partners outside too.
Yeah.
But we find that, like, when we want to kind of, like, play with, like, personal partners, they tend to also be in the industry because it kind of keeps our selection pool safe.
Makes sense.
Yeah, people it's our job to stay tested, to know our status. It's how we make our money. So we are very, very careful, very, very careful with our bodies.
Yeah.
Where people have much a freer idea of what porn stars are.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they must sleep with anybody. Like, not really.
Because I sell hamburgers doesn't mean I like hamburgers.
Exactly.
I might be a vegetarian. I just sell hamburgers.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, that same concept, right? Or like when you get off of work, you want to be off of work, you know? So we, testing, that's a major issue. King and I also have to be super careful about not shooting with people that don't share the same value set as us. So there are a lot of racist people, period.
Yeah, right across the board. Right across the board, yeah.
But then within our industry, there's a lot of people who, through their work, you can kind of tell, like, they'll have, like, pretty much racial slurs about, like, I don't even want to use some of that language that we see, but like they're Islamophobia, homophobic, racist, and they tweet it, or they only shoot content like I only shoot with black men in February, or things like
what.
I can go on and on. Like, we have an entire presentation about being in the adult industry for people of color, because it is, like any industry, just as laden with racism as anywhere else. So for him and I, we have to take a little extra time doing our research.
Okay.
Let's see what else. Other parameters within our personal life. I mean, it's work, so we're pretty open. You know, we definitely, when it comes to our film company, we have our parameters around, like, do you think that she would be good? Do you think, this would be a good scene? I'm thinking about pushing this out, So we meet creatively about royal fetish films. But when shooting for other companies,
it's okay. So then I guess, I don't know if don't mind is the right word, but you understand that this is work when you see him with other women, or if he sees you with other women, he knows that this is work.
Right.
So off the air, is that the same parameters set in your personal life also, or that's slightly different?
It is slightly different. So we do have an open relationship. He is polyamorous, so he has the capacity and the desire to love many others.
That's what that means.
Yeah.
Okay.
So poly, many loves, right? Polyamorous, polyamor. So lots of love.
Amor is the female?
Love, just
love.
Amor, the word amor.
Yeah.
So he has always been polyamorous as long as he can remember. But this is the first relationship where he's been able to really practice freely. Okay. And so he, like, King could theoretically have like another girlfriend or whatever. And he's gone on dates and things like that. Right now, it's been very difficult for him to find that type of relationship outside of our primary relationship. Okay. One, because our primary relationship takes up a lot of time. We work together. We have a family together. And it may be challenging for other women to see themselves play second to such a dynamic. Okay.
And but again, at least they know that that's what the deal is. You're playing second.
Right. And, so when we think about a partner for him, it's somebody who is either perfect in that space or who has some type of, like, admiration for the both of us. Okay. Or the third option would be she has a life of her own, too. And he's her secondary partner as well.
So that's all that's consistent in an open relationship is, do you actually, let me use the word, hunt together?
Ooh, that's a good word. Sometimes we do, but if we're hunting, it's really not for keeps. We meet a lot of people, and we may say, like, wow, like, she's really hot, or he's handsome, or something along those lines. Sometimes I may say to King, like, yeah, I'd love to see you with that person, right?
Just like that.
Yeah.
Has he ever said that to you, that, hey, check this guy out here?
Well, he's said things like he knows when somebody is, like, crushing on me or something like that. Or he knows when he's like, I think you got the hots for that guy. Well, those are not his words. He would never say that in that way. I don't want to do his voice right now. Like, you dig that dude. But and I I'm like, yeah, kind of, sort of, but, and we've definitely played in the same spaces together, and that's been cool. But from a relationship standpoint, it's been, for me, it's been more of a challenge to enjoy outside relationships, mainly because I am still maintaining the family, it's a little bit it's a little bit easier for men to
For sure.
be able to
Understandable.
enjoy, you know. Even like for example, if King is enjoying the company of a woman and we find her to be like acceptable to be around our family or to hang out with us, it's a little bit easier to bring a woman into our space
more than a man.
Yes,
Understandable.
I certainly think so. From you know, I have daughters and women, we can quickly get into like a very friendly relationship. So, you know, but at the same time, I'm very fulfilled in my primary relationship.
Okay.
There may be things sexually that I enjoy, you know, kind of like outsourcing or enjoying or whatever. And I usually do that when we're on like our little vacations or our getaways. And
so you just find somebody, I guess, walking around a resort and say, hey, come here.
yeah, that's how people got to
Hey,
travel.
you wanna have some fun? Come here.
Yeah,
I got
something
something to
along
show
those
you.
lines. So, and I get a lot of fulfillment from the BDSM clients. I definitely enjoy having subs. So,
it's in my mind. Don't worry, we're getting there.
I enjoy having subs. So, a lot of my secondary relationships are more in that way than loving.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
What sign are you?
I'm a Gemini.
You're a Gemini. That's why you're like that. Geminis are all over the place. They like this. They like that.
They get bored fast.
Yeah, that's you. So you like to be the dominant one in your primary relationship or in your. Let me say, what's the proper word? Side relationships?
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
Okay.
So in my primary relationship, we stay pretty much in our dominant space. We're just very, like, I guess the way we say is that we see each other as equals.
Oh, yeah.
If anyone is going to be more submissive in a setting, it would be me.
Which would make sense because it seems like you're still somewhat traditional, but still modern at the exact same time. Throw it all in one bowl and see what we get. Right.
Yeah. But things even like when we go out on dates, I like King to decide where we're going. I even sometimes go as far as saying, you just order the food. I want the food to come and I just want to eat what's there. I trust that you know my preferences. Relinquishing control feels good. You know, it's a relief.
That's almost like the ultimate control. Giving you control is the ultimate control. I get it. I get it. Trust me, I understand. You know, it's like a reverse psychology type of thing.
Yeah.
I'll give you the power, but I still have the power because I gave you the power. I gave
it to you. Yeah. So.
No, I definitely understand it. This word sub you brought up. Let's talk about sub because, again, from a black perspective, a lot of these stuff, you see these words, you see pictures, you might see some, but you don't really understand it. I've never really spoken to anybody that knows what. So exactly what is a sub? Because you seem to like subs.
I do. So sub stands for submissive.
Okay.
Right? And it can just be that. So a person that is submitting to. Could be anything. Yeah. You know, I'm submitting to having to sit in this space, in this frame that Duke has created for me. Right?
So will we be considered doms then?
No, you're just directing this moment. That's all. Calm down. You have to go for it. But no, so it's just somebody who is submitting to. And then a dominant is somebody who is making the demands, in control, right? There's so many ranges from it, right? So a lot of times when someone sees the word sub, they think of someone on their knees. They think of somebody that is wearing like latex and has their face covered in all of these things, or being whipped or being chained. That's definitely could be a part of it. Yeah, it's a version. There's others that have a sub that likes to do household tasks. So for him, I drop off my laundry, he picks it up, and he delivers it.
Okay, so sub could be male or female. There's no one gender that could be a sub.
No, not at all. And a lot of submissives, you know, people think, oh, they must be weak or broken or like to be abused and all these kind of things. There, you know, when you kind of think of just people, there's all kinds of people, right? Sure. Those that fall into the submissive space, some like to be a sub all the time. Others enjoy just having a moment to relinquish control, not having to think about what to do.
That's usually people like in higher positions, CEOs, people, entrepreneurs, and those type of stuff that's always in control. They want to give it away sometimes.
Right. And even if you think of a working mom who's got to like, oh, doctor's appointments for this one, pick you up, drop you off, do this, don't do that, brush your teeth, don't brush your teeth, wash your ass, you know, like constant, on. to be able to have a session with King and I, or King and or I, and be told, like, sit still. That is like, sit still? You mean nobody needs me right now?
Yeah.
Last night we were doing a demonstration with bondage.
Okay.
And one of the women is a busybody.
Yeah.
She is she assists with she was an assistant to the woman that coordinated. So she was putting things here, putting that, making sure everybody had their drink, all these things, and she volunteered for the bondage piece. And as I'm doing it, she says, do you want me to grab that for you? You know, like, so she's trying to help me settle her down. Yeah. And as we're using saran wrap to bind her to another woman. That's
another one that's in my head. We're talking about that. That's not, yeah.
Binding her. And you can see her breathing and her body language just go like visibly relax because she could not move. And it's like for 5 minutes she was still. Yeah. And I said, close your eyes, you know, and just focus on your breathing and the woman that she was bound to, her breathing. And they were just relaxed for 5 minutes. And something, you know, just being able to listen and have to do what you're told when you're used to the one always telling someone what to do can just be a beautiful thing.
And how is that even sexual? Where does the sexual come into that part?
So for the way that I practice with sensual dominance, it is it's the anticipation of not knowing what may be coming next. Okay. So just, you know, kind of like foreplay. You know,
this is a different version of foreplay. It's a different
version, right? And for my clients that I'm not sleeping with, maybe it's that you get to go home and have your sexual release, whether through masturbation or with your partner, or it is all of these different sensations touching you, like whether it's feathers or floggers, or, you know, you're getting spanked or you're being choked. All of these different touches are heightening your senses for maybe a release later down the line for you.
Okay. The more you speak is the more questions that keep popping.
Yeah, that's how it goes. That's how it goes.
When you say saran wrap, okay, what? First of all, why saran wrap? That's what I want to know. And then what do you do with the saran wrap?
Okay, so saran wrap, because it's easily accessible. So it's a pervertible. Anything like a common item that you can use towards sexual arousal.
Got you.
All right.
And you call that, what's that word?
A pervertible.
All right. I understand that word right away.
So saran wrap, it's easy. Like you can find it at the dollar store. Everybody has it in their kitchen.
I can't believe this. Yeah. I'll never look at saran wrap the same.
You will not. You absolutely. Thanksgiving or will look leftovers.
You're killing me. No saran foil. No saran wrap, please. Strictly foil.
So it's easy. Like it's easy. You don't have to have a certain skill set to be able to use it. You know it sticks to everything, right? So you put your subject in a position that you want them. And then you just start wrapping it, right? So a couple of things are happening with the saran wrap. One, it's binding you. It's hard to move. I mean, you could definitely break out of it if you really want to. So it's a great restraint to start with. Because psychologically, you're not thinking, oh, shit, I'm hogtied. And there's like, where's the key? And
more stuff in my head.
You're thinking like, oh, this is just plastic. If I really wanted to bust out of this, I could. So it's a great place to establish some trust. It's just saran wrap. Yeah. But it's pretty binding. Yeah. You know, the second thing with it is it does a little bit of temperature play. So, you know, when people want to lose weight, they may wrap themselves in plastic or wear those plastic suits and go jogging to sweat. Well, you're getting hot under there, so your temperature is heating up. Yeah. So you're actually changing the chemistry of the body. And that's like what you really, like with any type of foreplay, is that you want to heighten senses and do some sensation play.
Makes sense. When you break it down and look at it, that's really what it is. It's to heighten the senses.
Sure,
you know
exactly.
what I mean?
Which all the time, if you can heighten the senses prior to having sex or during having sex, is going to make that much more, you know.
When you said yesterday that you saran wrapped two people together.
Yeah. That's so fun.
Why? Okay. Why? Are they back and back, front together, side to side? What? How
you can do it any way you want, but in the for yesterday, because they were strangers, it was an intro to kink. So we're not talking about like making people pushing boundaries. We just want people to learn new things.
Okay.
So I had them back to back.
Okay.
A couple of things that we're doing there is one, building that trust that like this is different. I'm gonna challenge myself to do something different. I'm gonna trust that Jasmine knows what she's doing. Trust the process,
hopefully,
right? And then being that close to somebody in a setting where also it's like the sexual energy is there because we're coming to something called kink. We came into an intimate setting. So the energy is already there. Then you're putting me close to someone's body. Then I have to rely on this person to like, if I go forward, she needs to come back a little bit. So they're working together without using any verbal communication. Then their breathing starts to sink. And that is like super sexy.
Okay. So then that is for when you're saran wrap, it's for you or is it for them?
It's for all of us.
It's for all parties involved.
Yeah.
Saran wrap, hey, that's a new one.
Buy stock in it because we're traveling the country right now. We're traveling the world right now.
Yeah. We're going to have a saran wrap shortage just now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just like that.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. As I said, the more I speak to you, I have a list of questions that we still haven't got to because the more we speak is the more crazier it gets. You know what I mean?
Let's go.
Let's get into, I think the terminology is BDSM. What does that stand for?
Okay, so bondage, domination, sadism, or masochism. So sadism is the act of inflicting pain. Masochism is the pleasure receiving it.
Okay.
It can also stand for that D can stand for dominance and the S can stand for submission.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's BDSM. And I guess you practice BDSM? Yeah. Is BDSM something you practice, you live? What exactly is BDSM?
So that's a great question. So it can be, so BDSM can kind of be it's an umbrella term.
Okay.
Pretty much for most things kinky that have to do with the bondage, that have to do with domination and submission, or sadism and masochism. So that's a lot. I mean, it could be if I spanked you on the hand and we said that was in the space of kink. Yeah. We're doing BDSM, right? Okay. If I said, sit there and don't speak until I tell you to, and we do that in the sense of sexual play, it's BDSM.
That's so crazy.
Right? So there are things that are, so BDSM is a fetish within itself. So there's a larger umbrella. Fetish is
it's a fetish within a fetish.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So it's a lifestyle or something you practice?
Oh, good question. Both. It could be, some people are, they would, every time that they have an intimate exchange, it is in some form of BDSM. Okay. Their fetish, the way that they get off is through that, through something in the BDSM world. Some people live 24/7 power exchange, where in their household, in their relationships, they are always sub or they're always the dom. A lifestyle can also be every time we go on vacation, we go and try a new dungeon, right? Or it could be something, a practice like, oh yeah, like I went to some party and they had like a St. Andrew's cross and I got up there and I let someone flog me. It was cool. And then it's over. Yeah.
Yeah, so they tried it.
Yeah, they tried it.
This is crazy. This world that you're in, it's interesting.
It is.
You know what I mean? I've heard the terms, but I've never really sat down and spoke to somebody that could really break down the terms and put it into a box so you know exactly what this means.
Right.
You know what I mean? You hear it, BDSM, okay, people in leather clothes beating somebody with a whip, and that's the extent of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I never understood that.
Yeah, so many different things within that. I like to practice psychological domination where I don't have to do any hitting. A lot of my clients are virtual in other countries, and we may have a session where I'm doing a lot of domination, verbal domination, humiliation, even from a physical sense. Like last night, one of the ladies wanted to learn more about smacking in the face. And so instead of starting with just smacking her in the face, like, I don't
come here.
Right. We started with psychological domination, which was smack yourself. Right? Start there.
Yeah, you're boy. I almost think you get off not even just strictly sexual, just by making people do stuff.
Absolutely.
That's your super turn on power.
Yeah, I think so too.
Just to see what this person would do. Yeah.
Yeah, under my direction. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like an orchestra, right? The conductor totally loves that power and control. Everybody could put their instruments down and walk out if they wanted to, But who would want to do that? You can't make beautiful music.
Hey, once you're still under the control or the spell of the conductor. And this brings me back to this now. When did you discover sexually you were like this?
That is, it's a fuzzy, it's like kind of a gray area for me. Once I got into the lifestyle and learning more, and I'm still learning. Okay. I'm still, I'm always learning new things and how certain people like their fetishes and things like that, the range that people have, because everyone is so unique. I was entering my 30s when I started to become curious.
Okay.
But so once I started understanding more, like having this conversation that we're having now with you, I've had several of them, and just kind of like, oh, okay.
It all makes sense in your mind.
And so then kind of going, like having some flashbacks to when I was younger. I remember in high school, I was very, very interested in boys, but I was very interested in what I know now as edge play. So I would go out, hang out with guys, and I would get them to a particular point sexually, like not even intercourse. And they would be so ready, and I would say, I'm ready to leave.
What? Typical Gemini.
Yeah.
Typical Gemini.
And they would look so pathetic, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I had no idea that it was a fetish and at such a young age.
And that's what's considered edging?
Edge play, when you're controlling your partner's orgasm. Okay. And you may do things like take them almost to having orgasm, pull it back. Or you may say you can't have an orgasm for X amount of days, or so on and so forth. So at a young age, they were calling me dick tease. And I kind of took pride in it because I was like, yeah, like you didn't sleep with me, but yeah, you caught with your pants down. Yeah. You can't do nothing. And so, I thought I was like being mean or they didn't deserve. I'm not exactly sure all of the thoughts I was having, other than I really enjoyed it and I like that control. And so now that I've gotten older, I was like, oh yeah, we were practicing BDSM there. It said that I didn't have their consent.
So what's something that, would you consider like a stripper or a dancer that they practice edging?
Potentially. I mean, that's seduction, right? Seducing, knowing that nothing is
that we're not going to pass here.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. I think a good dancer is practicing edge play. Now, there are some that ruin it.
Edge play, not edging, edge play. Okay.
Yeah, either edging or edge play. There are some ones that ruin it. Yeah, they do things in the back room that they shouldn't, watering down the prices.
Hey. You know what I mean? That's so amazing. Okay, let me ask you. Listen to this question I'm going to ask. Okay. Understand what it is.
Okay.
What is your sexual speed limit?
Oh, well, help me define what speed limit is.
Okay. Your car could go to 200, all right? What speed are you comfortable? I'm comfortable at driving at 100 at all times. Okay. What's your sexual speed limit? What do you not want to do? What is one line you will not cross?
Oh, okay. So if my car could go 200, then I'd like to say like maybe 125.
Okay, leave some room.
I think there's a lot of room for things that I haven't explored or things that I want to go back to and try differently, I still think that I have a lot of conservative, this is the last word that you would expect, right, on this podcast, particular show.
But I understand it, though, because of where you're coming from.
Right.
So I understand. It's still ingrained in you, even though you're living the lifestyle, but it's still ingrained in you. This is what was taught. This is what you were seeing. So it's that reservation is still there, even if it's just 1%. It's still there.
It's still there, right? So I think I still have some areas of conservatism with my body, right? With my, and I think that in itself is super powerful.
Yeah.
Because it's like just because you're in an industry, you have access to almost any act that you want to do. I could certainly pay certain talent to all right, let's shoot, right? Shoot, right? I want to do this type of scene, whatever. There are certain things that I want to experience solely with my partner.
Okay.
There are things that I want to experience with other people. I haven't met those particular people yet.
Okay.
There are there's things that I'm limited to also because of the like, not to sound pompous, but the status that we're at.
No,
now,
I fully understand what you mean. You
so
know
like,
what I mean?
you know, things that I would like to try that I want to be genuine, not someone saying like, oh yeah, I got with Jet Setting Jasmine.
Yeah.
Things
So
like
it's that's where you're saying the right person.
Yeah.
When you see them, you come across them, you know, okay, this is the
This
person.
is it,
here.
right?
Yeah.
There are even things within my own house, right? But I'm still a mom. Right, you just can't have things hanging from the ceilings, and right, you just
probably bedroom, yeah, but anything past that,
not even
bedroom.
Yeah, we have so like, you know, our household is like everybody's in and out. The baby's still small. Come get your brother from the bed, you know. So with that being said, and I think it's important when people kind of try to put their sexual standards to performers.
Got you.
You got to be careful because we're just like everyone else from the perspective of we have our likes, our limits, our ranges. We have our families, you know, like my dream house would have a dungeon. I don't have that yet, you know. We got
dungeon is another one in my head. Okay, continue.
But yeah, 125.
Okay, biggest turn-offs and turn-ons sexually.
Okay, at this moment today. So the biggest turn off would be assumptions that men make around women that are sexually free and empowered. So things of men sending pictures of their genitalia.
That question is here too, yeah.
Yeah, such like a complete turn off. A couple of things. My good friend / sister girl in the world of sexuality, her name is Tayomi Morgan. She coined a term. You can find it in the Urban Dictionary. It's called ocular rape.
Ocular.
Rape,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
So it's where you did not ask to see, you did not give consent, and someone is sending you a photo which violates your eyes.
So it's not like you just seen it on TV or something. This was specifically sent with
to you
to see it. Got you.
And you know they have a fetish of exhibitionism but they're not doing it in a consensual way. That is, and it takes up a large percentage of my day. That it's a violation. I want to read messages. I want to, I want to meet new people and things of that sort. I do not want to see people's genitalia uninvited.
Yeah.
You know?
I didn't ask, so don't send.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I don't do it to others. It's like, yeah, if you follow my page, it's obviously it's an adult entertainment page, you know. So that is the consent there, is that you consented to following
an adult page.
Which even that I censor. I put the other stuff on my subscription pages for even more consent.
Got you.
But I don't just randomly send people,
hey, look at this.
Yeah, it's rude.
Yeah.
And so that piece, and a lot of women, I know a lot of women experience it in general, but even more so women who have shown that they are liberated sexually. Our sexual liberation has nothing to do with looking at your genitalia.
Yeah. I got
you know, so that's a huge turnoff. What I usually do is I expose them.
I've seen that on your page,
Yes.
yeah, and you even tag them too.
Absolutely, and I will send it to their followers because most of the time it's a family man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that has nothing but pictures of like him and his wife and children at
but
church.
in the DM, the background,
he's doing
that's a different...
awful things, right? So his wife should know who she lives with.
Wow.
Yeah, so don't do it.
Yeah.
That's okay. So turn on.
This is what I want to hear.
Yeah. So I'm a hustler.
Okay.
I love like people that are like driven and like to me like when I meet especially men because my preference is men that like are working in their craft or they're pursuing their passion and they're open and they're honest and just like I just love that. Like I don't care how ugly they are.
It's just you're getting that work.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You know, really, really excited and about the type of work that they're doing. It is such a turn on to me. It's just like I want to know more about you, and I like maybe I want to treat you. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't mind treating and all that stuff there.
No, no, not at all. Yeah.
Wow, you're very interesting to say the least.
Thank
because
you.
What I find with you is, you're in the industry, you do all type of stuff, but you're very well spoken.
Oh, why, thank you.
Yes, yes. And that right there changes the whole dynamics. Because if you see somebody on a screen or you see them on action in a movie and they're acting like this, okay, you're going to fantasize them like. But then when they speak now,
it can ruin everything, right?
It's not even ruin, it more puts you into a different light.
Yeah.
Either if you speak and you don't really have any sense, it's like, oh, you're a waste of time. But you speak well, it's like, oh, you're very intriguing now.
Right.
Because you speak well. So then now it's beyond or even heightens the sexual because you speak so well.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Why, thank you.
Yeah, you're very good at what you do. All right, let's get in. Got a couple more stuff before I get you out of here.
Okay.
Let's get into your family dynamics.
Okay.
Okay? You being in the... Would you consider yourself a sex worker?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
You're a sex worker and you have female?
Yeah. 2 daughters.
2 daughters, 1 baby, son.
Yes.
Okay. How do you guys discuss this lifestyle with your children?
So they've been along this journey. So it's been probably like, it's going on like 9 or 10 years now.
Okay.
So they've been along this journey with me from the very beginning. And it started with like, I throw parties for adult women, right? And it's like, what kind of parties? Why can't we come to the parties?
They're adults.
Exactly. They're adults.
Yeah.
Then they'll come back home and they'll be like, goodness, like, what did you guys do? It's like the house is a mess or whatever. Or your pole is up. Why is your pole up? What were you guys doing? You know, it's like we're having, adult woman time.
Yeah.
And then I used to keep all my toys in this one luggage, and they would be like, what's in the luggage? And I'm like, those are my adult toys. Yeah. Don't go in there. And so it's kind of framing for them. There are things that adults do, and there's things that children do.
Fair enough.
Right? And we shouldn't hide that, because what children grow up to be adults, right? Yeah. It doesn't mean that you introduce them. It's just like when we have liquor, right? Yeah. It's like, this is for adults to drink. This is adult juice. This is children's juice.
Well, I'll give you a little sip, but that's it. Yeah. Nothing too crazy.
Nothing too crazy, right? And so the same thing in my household. Like, okay, I have a pole, right? I'm not stripping for the children. I might be like practicing a certain lift. I remember my daughter, she's a competitive gymnast, and I would like be doing like things on the pole, and she goes, if you tighten your core, you can actually hold it a little better. And I'm like, what? But so they've been along the journey. Then I started to take some like sexy pictures, right? And my daughter will do my makeup and my hair, and she still does.
I've seen that too.
Yeah, and so I wouldn't welcome her to the set as a child, but I would say like, oh, I'm gonna take some pictures, and what are you gonna wear? Well, I think most of this is gonna be a nude shot. Nude? Yeah. Why do you want to do that? Because I like my body and I want to be able to show it in an artistic way.
Got you.
Okay. I have a reason, right? My youngest daughter tends to be more conservative, and so she would go like, ew. She would see the outcome of some of the pictures of just me and like, ew, look at your butt, But it's appropriate for, at the time, a 7-year-old or 8-year-old.
Why basically seeing your mom.
Yeah, and I want to celebrate my body. I'm not ashamed of it. I think that there's a time and a place. It's not when they're having a sleepover, I'm coming out naked, right? Or
black leather gloves. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, exactly. That's inappropriate. Yeah. And as they become older, I don't want them to carry a shame that a lot of women have come up. Or I had a conversation with my 18-year-old daughter yesterday. We were talking about this misconception of what if women wear this, they're more likely to be raped. And that's so not true statistically.
Okay.
Or this idea that we have to apologize for turning men on. Like, no, everyone should control themselves.
In a perfect world, I 100% agree with you.
In a perfect world.
Yeah.
And we talked about the fact that we don't live in a perfect world, so we also have to account for that. So when we do wear certain things, and if anything bad happens to us, we run the risk of, unfortunately, people not believing us. Yeah.
Which, again, we don't live in a perfect world, so then that's where that gets all misconstrued. Oh, she had on a short skirt, so then it tempted me. You should have self-control not to be tempted. But again, we don't live in a perfect world.
And
he was tempted, did it, and
right.
And I mean, everything gets out of control.
Exactly. So we have those type of discussions, which make allow them to kind of couch, sexual freedom, sexual empowerment, sexual safety. When we decided to like put more things online, we talked about like, okay, we're about to like go crazy here.
Yeah.
Let's block each other on our social media.
Okay.
I'm going to be doing more things that I want to do for myself. The other thing is that my daughters love the money that we make.
Yeah.
Like they've said things before like, oh, you guys have to travel, or oh, you got to do this. I'm like, do you like those shoes? Do you like this house?
Yeah.
They're like, okay, go work.
I get it. So do they know that you're actually in the sex industry? They know.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, so if one of your daughters or even your son now, maybe came to you and said, hey, I want to become again, I'm using this term loosely, a porn star. Sure. All right. What happens then?
So we would talk about like the steps that I took. I have a great fallback, right? I am a clinical therapist. It's not even a fallback. I still do it. They know about that work as well. Yeah. I went to college. I have 3 degrees.
Okay.
Yeah. So do they need all of that? No. Like I was definitely a professional student. I love school.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. Do they need that?
Yeah.
Not necessarily. But have you at least set yourself up? Because the industry, whether you tell me that you want to go into the porn industry or you tell me you want to be a dancer, like a hip-hop dancer, or you want to be a musician like your dad, those industries will chew you up and spit you out. They're not as glamorous as they seem. Do you have what it takes to enter any of those industries? Okay. And do you have a fallback? Yeah. So that would be number 1. Number 2 would be from a safety standpoint. Like, I can do a lot of the work that I do because I do it with my partner. Yeah. Or I do it so openly that there are eyes that are watching to make sure I'm okay. Yep. So, we talk about that. We even talk like about my daughter's 18 now. If she wanted to do some cam work and things like that, she doesn't have to have my consent.
She's her own
she
adult
can do
right
it, right? But we talk about like fetish work. There is a consequence when I go outside my house. There's a chance people will recognize me for sex work and do things like show me their genitalia, right?
So weird.
Or there are other consequences where maybe I'm not invited to some of the like PTA mom groups and things like maybe. I mean, I think I get most of the invites, but there might be stuff I'm missing out on. People are judging me. Those may not be the things that you want to do at 18 because you might want to do something different at 22. Yeah. So if you want to go into that world, maybe start with footwork. Nobody can identify your feet. Yeah.
And the good thing with it is because you guys are both parents are in the industry, you could kind of guide them, and it would be kind of hypocritical for you to say, hey, don't do this because I'm doing it. Even if you don't like it 100%, at least you need to experience it for yourself to see if you're going to go all the way in or this isn't for me.
Exactly. And there are aspects of the industry that I absolutely do not like. There are things that I think, it's like any industry though. I've worked in government, in regular corporate America, and in this industry. And there's across the board things that I absolutely would not want for my children. I don't even want for anyone. I wouldn't want it.
Give us an example.
So an example would be, let's just say skeezy people, like where they're telling you like, if you come, I'll pay you like, let's just say I'll pay you $300 an hour for a shoot. I got this website. And then you get there and you realize like, this person is, they're going to pay me, but this is not for a website. Yeah. This person is getting off as shooting this right now.
Okay, so there's some of that happens too.
Yeah. Okay. So that dishonesty. Yeah. Right. And you're still getting paid. You also have to think like, am I safe? This person is lying to me. I know it. I feel it.
What else are they lying about?
Exactly. Yeah. So things like that. I've had that happen in corporate America where someone is like, oh yeah, I can get you a promotion. Yeah. Just do this project for me.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry, I got you.
Yeah. And then you see that they're not giving you any credit at all. So dishonest people are around everywhere. Yeah. So I don't want my children to be in any industry where they're being naive or taken advantage of.
Makes sense.
But otherwise, I mean, them seeing us work, they're seeing so many other things like Today, they're watching you set up for. She's watching you set up for this podcast.
Yeah.
If I wanted to have a radio show, maybe I would have the audio visual with it. I'd have to have lights. She saw a photo shoot right before you got here. This photographer shoots this way. Yesterday, we was working with another photographer. They shoot that way. That's her area of interest is in photography. There was the lady that we met right before coming here. She was a personal assistant, a virtual assistant. So they're being exposed to so much more.
A lot more behind. A lot of people never see the end product.
They don't even see the end product. They don't want to see their parents in that way. But then from, an adult industry standpoint, like kids are, unfortunately, they turn on their computer. They're going to see something. It's almost like you can't access any media without being sold sex in some capacity. It may not be your parents, but,
And how would you even handle that if, I guess, the kids' friends, somehow they knew who you were, they found you online? They do.
Yeah.
This is how do you handle that?
So I had a post on IG like probably 2 years ago where some kids they were trying to bully my daughter, like saying like, oh, her mom's in the porn industry and we found her Instagram and all this stuff. So I just went on Instagram and I said my page is for people that are 18 years of age or older. You're not old enough to be on here, so you're the one in violation. 1, 2. If I guess the parents were saying things or whatever, in order for your parents to know what I do, they must be accessing it.
They have to see.
And thank you for supporting Royal Fetish Films. We'll take your money. I don't care whose parent you are. So putting it into perspective, we do what we do, but in order for you to know about it, you must be... You're buying it. I don't know who's worse.
How else would you know? It's just like when people say, hey, I smell weed in here. But I don't smoke weed. How do you know what weed smells like?
Right. You must have been around it before.
Something to do with something.
Exactly. So there's that. And then I also give my daughters I give them ways to confront that. So the same, like my daughter will do one of two things. She either goes like, they'll say, hey, do you know about your mom? And she'll go, what? What happened? And then it makes that person feel like, wait a minute, I'm about to tell her that her mom does porn.
Yeah.
And they don't want to be in that position. Or she goes like, yeah, I do her makeup.
Yeah. And then
nothing.
What do you do now?
Yeah.
I put myself out there. So then what happens? Right. What do we do now?
There's nothing. You can't tell them anything that we haven't already told them or shared. So that puts them in a position of power to say, and how can I help you now?
Yeah, and that's where you always want to be, position of power, whether you're making yourself vulnerable so you get that power, or you're always dominant to get that power. You always want to make sure you're in that position of power.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you something. Who is Jet Setting Jasmine?
What you see here?
Huh?
What you see here? What you see here?
Somebody said describe you. How would you describe yourself? Who is this ball of sexual energy?
So hard.
This is why we're here.
Yeah, I mean, the way that you talked about a Gemini, like I really feel like I really embody. When I read the description of a Gemini, that's me.
Yeah, you do.
That's me.
Yeah.
I am a woman that is really driven by whatever I want to do. When I see something and I'm like, I want to do that, I do it.
Yeah.
That could be anything. It could be like, I want to create this tour. Right? So it's kind of funny that we're in the middle of this called the Experience Tour. About 3 years ago, King and I were at a anniversary for our business. So it was our 5-year anniversary party. And I stood up in front of those people and I said, and this year we're taking our company international.
Just like that.
Just like that. And then we went and he looked at me and I was like, okay, we gotta do it.
We're going now.
Yeah, so I think I'd like to say that I'm a visionary. I have a vision, and I execute it.
Yeah.
I am definitely, I'm a mother.
Yeah.
Like through and through.
First and foremost.
Yeah, through and through. Yeah. Like we, discipline. We're all in it. Basketball games, that comes first. My kids travel with me, very hands-on in their lives. Sister, daughter. My mom lives like 10 minutes away. She's a part of the whole. Drops me off to the airport.
That brought up another thing. What do your family think about this entire lifestyle?
Yeah, to them, I think it's kind of like when you get with your family, they may say, "How you doing? You good?"
Yeah.
Like, like all your needs being met. Okay, cool. We don't go into the details of like, so, they'll say like, "I see you all over the place," or "I saw your little photo shoot, girl. Like, you cute." But that's it. We don't sit and talk about the details of anyone's work. We're a very close family.
Okay.
And everybody knows what I do, but it's like, why nobody wants to talk about it per se. I haven't been disowned by anyone. I've been embraced. Also, when you know a person, like your family probably, like if you did, like they saw you standing on the highest tower yelling your truth, they would be like, yeah, that's muscle.
Yeah, that's true.
That's it. Yeah, no, there's no surprise, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing for me. I've always been a performer in some way. I dance. I've always spoken my mind. I always had kind of like bigger than life type of attitude. So this is like, yeah, okay, yeah, we could see that.
Okay, and are you the oldest, youngest in your family?
I'm the youngest.
You're the youngest.
The
like,
youngest.
You see that? That's where it gets really interesting. It's like, the baby sis is out here doing all type of interesting stuff. It's like,
and everybody, for the most part, in my family has reached out. Like everybody in you don't talk to everybody in your family, but like my cousins and stuff have reached out and they've said things like, "Oh, we all got a little freaky in our family," right? I'm like, yeah. Or they've said like, "Hey, cuz I'm having an issue with this or that. What do you think about this?" So I'm also a resource.
So they use you as a resource. So that makes sense. That definitely makes a lot of sense. The baby sis doing all this stuff. Yeah. Hey, wow, that's
can't be
interesting.
controlled. And then, I always say, like, whatever you have a problem, y'all raised me.
Yeah.
So,
wow,
it's your fault.
You're an interesting character. Interesting character. Everything that we spoke about, it just flows so natural from you. You know what I mean? And that's what I like.
Cool.
You've toured a lot of the world with King.
Yes.
Okay. What do you find the difference with this is now black people? Black people in America.
Yeah.
You just came to Canada now. I know you did Jamaica and I know you've done England also. What do you find is the real difference when it comes to their sexual openness?
Oh, yeah. So there's definitely, I think once we kind of break a code of silence, so to speak.
Yeah.
We are so much the same. I think black people around the world, even those that live in predominantly black countries, are still experience racial oppression across the board through whether colonization or just, politics, corruption in politics. And you may think, not you directly, but people may think that politics don't have a play in sex and sexuality.
That's probably the biggest play. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, because politics shape how what we are allowed to learn about, how we learn about it, and how we are allowed to practice really every and anything. So in even our blackest countries, they're still oppressed and follow a particular conservative religious view. So I think that when in a lot of the countries that we've gone to, there's a very conservative attitudes, but people have this concept of America being so free. And quite frankly, when it comes to our sex and sexuality, that's not so.
You don't think so?
We may talk about it more openly. We may sell products more openly using sex and sexuality. We may be more accepting of things like porn from the standpoint of like it being $1 billion industry. America will accept anything that makes money.
Hey.
Right? But there's still a lot of the oppression towards sex workers. There are still very taboo things to go to talk about, that we can access freely without judgment. So again, once we've gone into these places, whether America or different countries, and broken that, like, it's okay, it's a safe space to talk about these kinky things, to talk about being a full sexual being, to talk about not being fetishized by white people, to talk about how religion is a construct that has limited us in a lot of different ways. It gets down to like people just wanting to enjoy themselves and live freely.
It makes sense. You know what I mean? Wow, that was great. This round here that I'm getting into is called a rapid facts.
Oh shit. Okay. Let me change it.
Get comfortable.
Let me get comfortable.
And let's run through these quickly here.
All right.
All right? And they're very straightforward. You'll see.
Okay.
Okay? What's the wallpaper on your phone?
My family.
Okay. What's the last thing you Googled?
Oh my gosh, can I check?
You could.
Okay, this is going to be probably embarrassing, but I want to be honest. Okay, I'll go to Chrome. Eventbrite.
Eventbrite. Okay. That's not embarrassing. That ain't nothing. That's not that
Oh,
bad.
the one before that was bedding, bath, towels, cookware, and fine china.
That goes back to your mom and you being who you are first and foremost. Okay. Are you a cooker or cleaner?
It's halfway for both. Cooker. Prefer.
Okay.
Even though King does most of the cooking and I do most of the cleaning.
All right. Fair enough. 90s hip hop or 90s R&B?
Don't make me choose. Don't make me choose.
90s hip hop or 90s R&B?
90s R&B.
I figured you'd say that.
Yeah.
Okay. Who was the last person you called or text?
Okay, let me tell. I know it's like one of three people. Last person that I called was my daughter.
Okay.
That's the one that's back home.
Okay.
And the last person that I text was my daughter that's in the room.
Again, back to being a mom, right? Okay. Last place you've been on vacation?
Ew, vacation.
Vacation, you know.
Not
vacation.
work.
Not work. Vacation.
No work at all?
No work.
Ew. Okay, that was last summer. I went on a cruise with the kids to the Bahamas.
Bahamas? Okay. That I could live with that.
Yeah.
What is your hobby?
Shit. Dancing.
Dancing. Okay. What is your favorite song of all time?
Oh, I really do not have one.
Okay.
I swear I do not
You
have
don't have
one.
okay. Favorite artist of all time?
Yeah, I don't have one of those either, but I have to answer appropriately. It's got to be Beyonce, otherwise I'm going to get in trouble. I can't get in trouble.
Okay. Do you remember the last song playing in your car before you jumped on the plane?
No,
Okay.
I don't remember it. I can tell you the last. Let me tell you what's
Last song you played on your phone?
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Okay.
Hold on, let's go. This is fun. Let's see. Wow, the first thing that comes, it's Beyonce.
So you weren't lying. Okay.
No,
you
I
see?
wasn't. Homecoming.
All right, Beyonce. I
the
got
live album.
you. Okay. Quick question for you. Do you eat any West Indian food?
All of it.
Okay, perfect then.
Yes.
So, curry goat or oxtail?
Shit.
You were so happy. I eat all of it.
Yeah.
Curry goat or oxtail?
Choose. Oxtail's so hard to come by. Oxtail.
Okay. All right. One word or phrase you say too much.
Fuck.
Just like that, right?
Just like fuck. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you an early bird or a late night?
Early
owl?
bird.
Early bird.
Yes.
Get up and let's go.
I get up with the sun, and I'm ready to go to sleep when it goes down.
I got you. Favorite color?
Blue, because I'm a Zeta.
All right. Fair enough. Favorite social media platform?
Instagram,
Into why?
because that's where all my friends are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I met you.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. All right. I can live with that.
Yeah.
All right. Got to the end of the rapid facts round. You see, that was easy.
That
and
wasn't
you were
bad.
so enjoyable.
Ooh, I love that.
I like that one.
That
yeah.
was fun.
All right. Now, the floor is yours completely.
Okay.
Anything you want to say, anybody you want to big up, any handles, any contact,
Okay.
anything, give it to them right now.
All right, so I definitely want to big up Room 2369.
Big up, big up.
Yes, and Nick's Photography, Nick's Erotics, for bringing me here. I just have had such an enjoyable time working with wonderful photographers here in the Toronto area, meeting folks like yourself.
And yourself too.
Thank you giving me a platform to speak to people in the area who will bring me back.
Yeah. Good one. Good one.
Let's see. So, yeah, thank you so much for that. And visit me at jetsettingjasmine.com. Join me and my friends over on Instagram at Jetsetting Jasmine, Twitter at JetSetJazz. Go watch and buy our films at royalfetishxxx.com. And yeah, anything I'm selling, buy it.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good quality.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Seems to work out. Jasmine.
Thank you.
You were amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Likewise.
Your vibe, your energy, everything. You were just so free and open.
Yeah.
As I said, as we're speaking, questions just keep coming in.
Good.
Question. But
Well,
again,
you can keep sending them, even though we'll stop here. You know,
we could probably
access.
do a Skype or a live, a 5-minute live or something.
Cool.
Is.
We'll bring King into the fold.
100%.
Awesome.
I would love to have the two of you guys on a couch together.
Oh,
and
man.
we talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can put some words together.
Wow. Because even when you say King now, what I even find with him, he seems to be in the business, but he seems to be woke.
Oh, yeah, he's so woke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then that's a hard balance, as you said earlier. Like, I'm woke, but I'm in the sex industry. But did they say woke people don't have sex?
Exactly.
And that's where
and like,
the whole
wouldn't you
world-
want to have sex
Yeah.
with somebody that's awake? I don't want to be with no
Yeah.
sleepy person.
Yeah, so it's interesting, but definitely up for that when you and King, hopefully you guys come back and
Yes.
do Skype or whatever.
That's the plan.
Jet Setting Jasmine, it's been amazing.
Likewise.
Thank you so very much. This is Muscle, and this has been another Entertainment Report podcast, and we are out. This podcast is brought to you by www.twolinedmusichut.com.